What's up, guys? This is Zach from Bet on It MMA, and I am here to break down the recent UFC fight night, Merab versus Yan, starting from the first fight to the main event. Before I start this video off, all we ask is that you support our channel by subscribing, liking the video, and comment your thoughts on the card. All right, so starting off with the first fight, we had Jared Gooden stepping on a couple of days' notice facing off with Carlston Harris. Shout out to Gooden for going 3 rounds on short notice. Harris got the job done, did what he was supposed to, and struck a little bit, and then eventually got the takedown. And ultimately that's what won him the fight, is just being more of a well-rounded fighter and having a full camp. So yep, that was the first fight. Second fight, we had Bruno Silva versus Tyson Nam. On the podcast, we predicted that this fight can kind of go either way. You had Nam kind of walking him down at first, and then Silva just looked very, very fast in this fight. Threw a front kick straight down the middle. Rocked Nam, eventually capitalized, getting the choke, and actually choked Nam unconscious. So good one for Bruno Silva. Very, very excited to see what he can do at the 125 division. Moving up the card, this was a very, very weird card, and the underdogs really shined on this fight card, and one of them was Ariane Lipski. Looked like she's finally starting to put it together. JJ Aldrich was a big favorite. She had a good performance, even though it was a loss from Aaron Blanchfield, and a lot of people were high on JJ Aldrich. She's like 7-3 in the UFC, and a lot of people were wondering if Ariana was gonna start to put it together. If she lost this fight, this could have been it for her in the UFC. And I mean, she passed with flying colors, man. She was able to stop the takedowns, land very good knees in the clinch. And I mean, towards the end, man, we talked about Aldrich's path to victory would probably be the grappling, and she started out grappling Aldrich. So, very impressive win from Lipski. Next up, we had another very, very close fight. Me and Holler were split on it. And Victor Henry versus Tony Gravely. Very exciting fight. Fun scrambles. We have Gravely landing more power shots and Victor Henry just putting that pressure on him. And, ultimately Henry won the split decision. It could have went either way, depending on how you score it. But I can totally understand why they gave it to Henry, but not a bad performance from Gravely. He showed that, in the past, he could fade in the third round, and he started coming back even harder in the third round. So good fight from both. Nothing to hang their head about. Next we have another underdog win. We had Josh Fremd beating SD Dumas. Man, we did say on the podcast that it can go this way. Fremd did have wrestling, and we just didn't see it in the UFC yet. And we really seen him just be a more well-rounded mixed martial artist than SD Dumas, and ultimately got him the win. And it really showed Dumas, what to expect in the UFC. Everybody's going to be good. Everybody's going to be well-rounded. So, really, really looking to see how he bounces back from it. And I think Josh, like I said, this is a guy who can get wins in the UFC. So we'll see how his career goes from there. Next up, man, in a back and forth fight, Davey Grant taking on Assunção, beating him in the third round, literally 20 seconds left. This fight was real interesting because Assunção was, he was winning the fight. He was up maybe 2-1. You could argue 3-0. Assunção does get a takedown last minute of the fight. Grant grabs the cage. If he doesn't grab the cage, he gets taken down. Probably the rest of the fight remains on the mat. But the referee decided to take a point, reset him instead of putting him on the ground. They stood back standing up, forced a scramble where Grant hurt Assunção, and then, Assunção, woke up with the ref over him because they got choked out by an inverted triangle. So very interesting with the rules on that. I feel like they should have took a point and reset him in the same position, but it is what it is. Davey Grant capitalized off of it, and that's what you're supposed to do as a fighter. But really good fight for both. And Assunção retired, so very good career. I mean, he had so many damn wins in UFC, WEC. Dude is, I mean, he's a pioneer of the sport. All right, we now move up to Carl Williams, getting a 3-round decision over Brzeski. Williams is wrestling, man, and just his toughness, man. He was able to rock Brzeski standing up and just lift him, like literally in the air like he was a lightweight. So that was very impressive to see. He was trying to get Brzeski out of there, but Brzeski held in there the whole fight, was in there the whole fight, but the wrestling was a little bit too much and wore him out ultimately. So good win for Williams in his debut. Next up, we had another exciting fight, man. Victor Petrino beaten Anton Turkalj in a unanimous decision. But it was a back and forth. I know it was unanimous. They all gave the rounds to Petrino, but man, Anton was in there the whole time. He just got out muscled in a lot of positions, would get dominant position, and just Petrino would legit out muscle him. Standing up, Petrino landed very hard shots, but Anton never stopped fighting and never stopped coming forward. So very good performance for Petrino, and Anton really showed his heart, and got some good positions in that fight. Moving up the card, we had Mario Bautista subbing Guido Cannetti. Guido, 43 years old, fighting a young up-and-comer, a guy that's probably about to break the top 15. This is kind of what we expected. Mario is, up-and-coming prospect. And look for bigger fights from him, man. Good performance. Next up, we had Jonathan Martinez beating Said Nurmagomedov in a unanimous decision. Again, another unanimous fight, but was back and forth, man. Jonathan Martinez just, had a little more dominant control positions and just never stopped coming forward. And we did see in the podcast, Said does slow down and Martinez just doesn't. Very exciting fight. Probably one of the biggest wins from Martinez's career. You'd have to think that he's in the top 15 after this fight and gets a bigger fight. Very impressive win from Martinez. Moving up to the next fight, we had Nikita Krylov beating Ryan Spann. This fight was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago. And the way we broke this down, man, it could have went either way. Krylov, very good ground game, uh, known to be very durable, and Spann very dangerous in the first round. Does have submissions and has explosive knockout power, but Krylov just, from the jump, decided to turn this into a wrestling match. And you could tell got Spann a little bit tired from scrambling nonstop. Spann attempting chokes, Krylov getting out. And then you just started to see Spann kind of start coming down. And as he started coming down, Krylov started putting it up. Ultimately, Krylov ended up, locking in a triangle choke. Real impressive win from him. Krylov is a guy who's fought the who's who, man. So, expect a really big fight coming his way to put him in, title contention. All right, moving up the card, we had Alexander Volkov choking out, not my bad, TKO from back control against Alexander Romanov. Romanov, man, you know, tried to get the takedown very early in this fight, and Alexander stuffed it. And Volkov was just able to, get it back to standing. And once they get back to standing, you could tell Romanov wasn't ready for that type of fight mentally. And went to shoot again, got stuffed, took his back again, and ultimately just kind of shelled up. Volkov took advantage, TKO'd him, and a huge win for Volkov's career. He was kind of known for a guy standing up very dangerous, but if you do have a wrestling background, it could cause problems for him. So to see him fix that is very interesting in a division that, you got guys like John Jones, who's a wrestler. You got guys like, Curtis Blades, wrestler. So very, very good win. Showed that he has that defensive wrestling down. And looking to see who they give him next in the heavyweight division. As far as Romanov, tough loss, 2 losses in a row while you're an undefeated fighter, very tough. And you can see mentally, I don't know if he has recovered from that last loss. So we'll see how he does. Moving up to the main event, man. A crazy, crazy pace. Merab versus Petr Yan. Merab ended up getting the unanimous decision. And man, this dude shot, I think it was a record for takedowns attempted. And props to Yan, bro. Like, I don't know too many people who can keep up with that pace. Not saying he kept up with it, but he was doing the right stuff. Just Merab was just relentless, man. And Yan is coming off a split versus the champ Sterling. He's coming off a split versus the #1 contender Sean O'Malley, and Merab just beats him better than anybody ever has. Speaks a lot, man. Yan was on top of the division for a while, and a guy like Merab who was looking to make a statement did just that versus one of the best fighters in the 135-pound division. Really interested to see who they give Merab. 135 is kind of wide open right now, man. They have so many killers in that division, and Merab's a tough fight for anybody, man. In the prediction podcast, man, I thought Yan was going to be a little too strong, and I was wrong, man. Merab just showed that he's on another level right now. He continues to get better with each fight. So, yeah, that was a recap for Yan versus Merab. Hope y'all liked it. Again, subscribe to our channel, like the video, comment your thoughts on the card. And don't forget, man, this fight card coming up, we're going to give y'all all our predictions alongside with Parlay. All we ask is that you subscribe. Till next time.